Is Charlie Strong's time running out at Texas? How are the MLB playoffs shaping up? And who are we picking in this week's biggest games? Find out next. MCTV Sports 101 starts now. Hey there, sports fans, and welcome to MCTV Sports 101. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. The seat continues to get warmer for Charlie Strong at Texas as the defense allowed 672 yards of offense in a 45-40 loss against Oklahoma in their first game since Strong took over in defensive play calling. The Longhorns are now 2-3 on the season, and their marquee win over Notre Dame in Week 1 is becoming less impressive. Kyle, is the tenure of Charlie Strong at Texas coming to a close?
Well, unfortunately, I think so. And I think it's more of just being Texas University. I think that's the reason they're used to winning, and right now they're just not winning. And Charlie Strong predicates himself on defense, but if you look at the numbers, since he's come in 2014, they allowed 23.8 points per game, which was 32nd in the country. But each year they have slowly increased. Last year, 26.4 to now this year, they're allowing 30.3 points per game. But the offense has actually increased each year, so it's kind of going in the opposite direction of what Charlie Strong wanted. And I just think the Texas fans are getting a little upset.
Now, I think you're right. I think it may be, and I'm just going to say maybe is a little bit premature to say this as of yet.
I mean, it's 5 games into the year.
Oh, well, of course. And, I would like to see what he can do next year with this young group that he's brought in with Bouchel, this young offense that he's developing. But like you said, the defense, it's a big question. It's, it's his forte. It's what he came in here to what we thought he could do.
And they have talent on that side of the ball, too.
And they're not creating turnovers.
Yeah.
They're giving up huge numbers in the rushing games. It's just whatever he's trying, it's not working. And even when he tries to step up to the plate and call plays himself, they still can't figure it out. So I think he's on his way out, but I would still give him just a little bit more time to right the ship.
Yeah, and you talk about the numbers this season. They really hadn't forced turnovers until last week against Oklahoma. That was the first time they actually forced multiple turnovers in a game. But they just continue to give up points. But they are scoring with the teams, which is different than what they did in the past. But unfortunately, I think it's Texas. It's tough. I mean, Les Miles was kicked out with a 700 win percentage at LSU.
Yeah, but he had some national championships with him, though.
Exactly, but Charlie Strong hasn't got there yet. I think Texas, they're going to look for a new head coach. If they do, whoever the new head coach is going to have a bunch of talent to work with. So they're going to be in a good position.
I mean, they always do at Texas, don't they?
We'll see. In the MLB, the American League Championship Series is set as the Cleveland Indians will play host to the Toronto Blue Jays as both teams sweat their opponents in the divisional series. In the National League, the team with the best record in baseball, the Chicago Cubs, punched their ticket to the NLCS with a dramatic 6-5 come-from-behind win against the San Francisco Giants last night. They will await the winner between the Los Angeles Dodgers and Washington Nationals, who are tied at 2 games apiece, and will play a winner-take-all Game 5 tomorrow. Billy, which teams do you see making it to the World Series?
Well, I first just want to start off and congratulate the Toronto Blue Jays and the Cleveland Indians. I did not see neither one of those teams making it there.
I thought they'd at least be closer than that.
At least be closer, but, they came in and they dominated those games. And then over there on the other side, the Cubs pulling that one out, that was extremely impressive. But, for who I think is going to be able to make it to this World Series, I'm going to go with the Blue Jays and the Cubs right now. The Blue Jays have got some of the hottest bats in the game.
Encarnacion.
I mean, clearly with what they did to Texas, it was heartbreaking for me to watch. But, and then on the other side, the Cubs, they've got it all around. They've got everything you need. They've got bats, they've got pitching, they've got closing. There's really, it doesn't seem to nothing that they can't do. So, that's what I'm going with.
Yeah, and first off, I want to give credit to the Cubs because they did have to overcome the magical Giants in the even years.
And I thought they were going to do it whenever they came back with that first game.
When they had that win, I thought they had the win locked up last night, and I'm watching in the 9th inning, and I'm sitting there in shock because it's just not the San Francisco Giants you've seen in the past postseasons. But the Chicago Cubs are the best team in the National League. With all due respect to the Dodgers and the Nationals, I don't think it's close in the next series. I think that the Cubs will win it. It could possibly go to 7, but I think either way, the Cubs will win that and go out of the National League. But I think the American League is interesting because I did actually expect Boston to at least be in the championship series. The Indians really surprised me because they're without some of their top pitchers. I mean, Carlos Carrasco and Danny Salazar, they're both out right now. So really, they're just left with Corey Kluber. Obviously, he's a Cy Young candidate. But, I mean, you see Andrew Miller coming in the 5th inning or the 6th inning and trying to pitch 2 or 3 innings. So we'll see if that can work. But the Blue Jays, they're so talented in the American League. And really making the wild card doesn't do them justice because they're a better team than the wild card. I think they have a ton of pitching with Aaron Sanchez and Marco Estrada and different guys like that. And then obviously Roberto Osuna in the bullpen, J.A. Ahab. So they got a lot of pitching, great hitting, Batista, Donaldson.
And I want to go back to the Nationals and Dodgers real quick. I just wanted to say it was, an iffy coaching move by putting in Kershaw in that game.
Short rest too.
And so they ended up pulling out the win on that one. But now they're going into this Game 5 without their ace.
Yeah, Rich Hill is going to be taking the mound for them.
So we'll see how that one turns out. But I thought that was a questionable call.
It was. And Kershaw was he's still recovering from an injury. I mean, he hasn't been back that long. But overall, I think it's going to be the Cubs in Toronto. I think it's going to be a setup for a good World Series. Should be a good championship series as well.
I agree. Texas Tech faltered on the road in Manhattan, Kansas this past Saturday to the Kansas State Wildcats, 44-38. Patrick Mahomes made a surprising return to the field and put together another impressive outing, but showed signs of fatigue in his injured shoulder near the end of the game. The Red Raiders will return to action this Saturday as they play host to an unbeaten number 22 West Virginia. Kyle, what were your thoughts on last week's game? And do you like Tech's chances this weekend against West Virginia?
Well, one thing I'll say about last week's game, I thought in the third quarter the defense actually held tough and gave us a chance to get it back in that ball game. We were only down by 3 points. There were some plays that happened, late that we could have got back in. The defense made stops. I was impressed with the defense in the second half. I mean, they really only gave up 30 points if you look at it due to the special teams touchdown and defensive touchdown. But, the time of possession, Tech actually won the time of possession. They had 31 minutes with the ball to 28 for Kansas State, which is very rare because Kansas State, that's what they're predicated on. So, overall, I thought it was a game Tech really should have won. I thought they did. And Mahomes, despite having an injury, I was not expecting him to play. He looked good, but at the end, he did tire out.
Exactly. And you see, he looked good.
Right.
But see, Mahomes is a great player.
Yeah.
And that's just what we need for Tech to be that.
He was great in the first half.
He was great in the first half. And as you said, the fatigue of the injury, it just set it in, and he started to show signs of weakness. And it just, for Tech to win, we need him to be a great player week in and week out. I mean, you're right, the defense played good, but what happens when the defense plays better than they normally do? Mahomes plays worse.
The offense struggles. So.
And it's just like this is normally what Tech does.
Yeah.
It's the normal Tech season. I feel like we're gonna push through these next couple of games. We might get an upset over OU, West Virginia, or Baylor. But it's just there's not a lot of improvement.
9 penalties for 100 yards as well after a week of being penalized quite a bit against Kansas. That has got to stop.
Exactly, and it's the discipline of the team, the stuff like that. It's just we're playing good, but if we want to get to that great style of program, there's got to be some type of change, whether it's defensively, schematically, discipline. Something's got to change.
Yeah, and I think this weekend they have a chance with West Virginia. You don't know a lot about West Virginia. They've had a couple bye weeks. They have some key wins. BYU was a win. I think it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be close. We'll see what happens, though.
The good news is the Big 12's still open.
It is. Well, now it's time for our weekly segment called Who You Got. It was pretty close last week, Billy. And Colorado almost pulled off that win at USC, but you got away with that one. Then Atlanta surprisingly got the win at W.
I've been riding them for quite a while, and I like what they're doing, and I still agree with what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Ryan, he's got it going, so we'll see.
And Matty Ice is as they once called him.
Yeah. Well, let's see how we do this week. So this Saturday, Kansas State travels to Oklahoma to take on the Sooners. Billy, who you got in that one?
Kansas State played well against us this last week, but I'm going with Oklahoma.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oklahoma, too. Kansas State obviously has the best defense in the Big 12, hands down. But, Baker Mayfield has found his rhythm. That offense is flowing. D.D. Westbrook lit up the Texas secondary last week. Now, obviously, it's going to be different with Kansas State, but I think OU at home makes a difference.
It does, big difference. Tennessee looks to bounce back after their first loss as they host Alabama. Kyle, who you got?
Alabama. I mean, I don't even think it's going to be close. Tennessee really should have got blown out last week. They were down 28-14, had 6 turnovers in the regulation. They had 7 overall. I really thought they should have got blown out. Alabama will not be as nice as A&M was.
I don't think they will be either. Alabama is going to steamroll through Tennessee. Yeah. The fact that they made that game close last week made me wonder things. So.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how, if Alabama wins this game too, they get A&M after that. So it'd be interesting in the SEC. If Tennessee pulls off an upset, it would probably be one of the biggest upsets.
That'll shake things up real big in the SEC.
In the nightcap, Ohio State will face their first true road test of the year as they travel to Madison to take on Wisconsin. Billy, who you got?
Ohio State. Wisconsin's been tough this year, but Ohio State, they're more well-rounded, I'd say.
Well, that Wisconsin defense is legit, but Ohio State is too good offensively. They're a lot better offensively than Michigan was.
Yeah.
And although it is at home in Madison, I think it's going to be tough for Wisconsin to pull off that upset. Their offense is just not there.
Yeah.
Their defense is there, just not enough offense, and I think Ohio State will roll.
They're on the cusp, but they're just not there yet.
Yeah.
In the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks play host to the Atlanta Falcons. Kyle, who you got?
Well, I'm going to go with Seattle. I think they're playing better football right now. Russell Wilson, I believe they had the bye week last week, so they had a little bit of chance to get healed up. I just don't see Atlanta winning at Denver and Seattle in back-to-back weeks. It takes a toll on you when you play those defenses. So I'm going to go with Seattle at home.
See, and I'm gonna differ from you here.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Atlanta. You know, I think that Matty Ice, as they once called him, as I said earlier, I think he's starting to get into a groove. That run game is really starting to pick up. That defense is being a lot more impressive.
Yeah, the run game, really, like you said.
And they're being more impressive than I thought they would. And not only that, I don't think Seattle's defense is what it once used to be.
Yeah, that's
so I
true.
think it'll be a little bit easier playing in the 12th man. So I think for those reasons, I'm gonna go with Atlanta.
You watch out for Atlanta this year as well, because in that NFC, really besides Minnesota, it's pretty open, the NFC.
Carolina's tanking, so
Yeah.
that NFC South is literally heating up.
Yeah. Well, that's our show for this week's edition of MCTV Sports 101. Join us next week for the latest big name stories in sports. I'm Kyle Stafford.
And I'm Billy Ingle. Until next time.